all new. AM 1150 WTMP.com.
All righty. Boy, it's that time again. You can tell by that music. The elephants are here. The herd has arrived. And again, our young lady who's stepping in and engineering for us, our regular engineer. I had to comment on her hair. You know how you do when you have beautiful young ladies around. You got to make sure you get that word in so that they know that you appreciate that they're here. So, all right, so you can fade that down. All right, thank you. It's official now. The Porch Talk Radio show is here, and I know you've been hearing stuff all day. And like I tell you every week, this show is different. It's different from all the shows you've been hearing all day today, particularly here on TMP, because you know what you get. And I hate to say it, pretty much you get pablum. You get pablum. From 8 o'clock to now. Pretty much, and it's liberal, and you guys know that. That's why you like it. Most of y'all are liberal, and you understand. But for this 1 hour on Saturday, you actually get Republicans and conservatives, and usually it's Gabriel. Gabriel is here. Gabriel is the Hispanic that the folks call me every week and say they don't like something he said, but that don't stop him from saying it because it ain't that kind of show. And of course, some of the stuff he says, none of you agree with, and some of you agree with. It varies, depends on what it is he's saying, what our particular topic is. But that being said, today is one of those days where we got to guess. So you may not have to listen to me the whole show, but you definitely won't have to listen to Gabriel because he's not here. So this is the one week I won't get any complaints, about folks about something that Gabriel said. And I told you in the past that if Gabriel says something that you don't like, then call the show. I mean, that's why it's a talk show, call-in show. All you got to do is call in, and whatever it is you want him to know that he said that you don't like that he said, then, that's how you make it real. You call us and you say it, and you say it on the air so that the other 500,000 folks who listen can hear it too. And one of the things that I said last week, and I said a couple weeks before, this show during the day can be heard all the way down to Fort Myers, because I like I told you guys, I went down to Fort Myers a couple of months ago, and I listened to TMP all the way down to Fort Myers. So when we got down there, I could still hear it. I mean, it was phasing out, but again, that's a pretty good distance. That's over 100 miles away. Now, again, north, south, east, and west, I'm not sure how far it goes out, but I know south, it goes a pretty long way. So, folks in Pinellas definitely can get it, and they get it pretty good, and it sounds pretty loud over there. And during my adventures of the week, one of the things that I did is I had a chance to speak at the Suncoast Black Republican Club over in Pinellas. So that was an adventure. And again, since my political days, I do some talking. Since one of the things that I am is a Toastmaster. So when I was political, I learned how to do public speaking, and they had a great audience, great feedback. Actually got a couple of new Facebook friends, likes from that conversation, and the person I was over there supporting and speaking with was Sheila Griffin, and she's running for U.S. Congress, Congressional District 13. So I guess is one of those tit for tats where I came and spoke and talked with her, and so today she's going to come and speak and talk with you. So, but the show hasn't started yet. As you guys know, what we do when we start the show, we give out all the information. So as soon as I get all the information out and you guys, we open up the lines, and then we're ready to get stuff going. So For those who don't know, if you call me on my cell phone during the show, I cannot answer because I'm doing a radio show. That would be obvious to a lot of people, but as we know, from time to time, people, some even though I give the phone call-in number out every show, some people don't write it down, and then we get a show and the topic gets hot and they want to call and talk, but for some reason they don't have the call-in number. So I give the radio call-in. If you want to call in during the next hour, be on the show. The call-in number here for WTMP is 813-251-9867. 813-251-9867. If you want to call me to complain about Gabriel, complain about Sheila, complain about Tim or anybody else, Willie, when Willie's here, if you call me personally on my cell phone number, my cell phone number, Eddie Adams Jr., is 813-230-3312. 813-230-3312. And it seems that so many people have that number because even though all the shows all day give out the calling number for the radio station, some of you guys still don't have it, but everybody got my cell phone number. I know because y'all call. So this week, also, if you want to post to the website, porchtalkradio.com. That's the website. And if you want to email me, I'm putting all the information out front, so this is the beginning of the show. We're starting the show. Email Eddie, EDDIE, at porchtalkradio.com. As I was saying, it's been one of those weeks because I did Wednesday over in Pinellas. I did the Suncoast Black Republican Club meeting, and then Thursday, for those who are aware, those who know me know I'm a public servant, so I'm in a bunch of groups and organizations. I'm about 30 of them, So I'm an ex-president of the Hillsborough County Sheriff Black Advisory Council. So we had our annual banquet on Thursday night, so I had to do that. And then I'm also on the board of directors of New Life Village. And New Life Village is an organization that was set up that helped provide housing for foster kids, families adopting kids out of foster care. So we had a big thing last night at Jim Rush's mansion out there in Beach Park. So that was nice. So that was what's happening. Then we got the show today, and then tomorrow, Bishop Michelle Patty got an event tomorrow afternoon at 3:00 that me and the wife are going to. So had I been campaigning, this would have been like a regular week. But since I'm not running for anything at this point in time, having the wife, pretty much expend her whole week, every night trying to do something. Only thing she didn't have to do was go to Pinellas with me on Wednesday, but Thursday, Friday, and tomorrow, we'll be doing this stuff together. So it's an opportunity. It's part of the process, and I can't tell you she loves it, but until she say no, we'll just run with it. So sitting here with me this afternoon is a candidate, and she's special because she's probably been in this not as a candidate, but as a supporter, as a conservative, as a Republican, and as a black female. That takes on, I know it was hard enough being a black male, but as a black female, boy, that takes on a whole nother set of worms and considerations and issues and stuff, because y'all sisters are hard. I'm telling you, the sisters are hard. So y'all jumped on me, and see what happened was y'all done it so regularly to the ones who don't understand what it is we do here and how I do it. If somebody new and call in thinking they're just invented, toast or, baked bread or something, they got this great idea and they call in and call themselves jumping on me. You guys call in and tear them up, so I don't have to worry about it no more. So I'm protected. But being a black female out in the political world and being on the Pinellas side, Pinellas don't have a platform like this, at least not yet. So when I talk to you guys, they hear it, but they may not be as in tune as you guys are. Us having been the #1 station on TMP for a while there. So that means we got not only black listeners, we got white listeners, and most of you guys know that we're not politically correct. So we say black and white, and we don't talk down to you. We don't call you names. We just don't do those things because it's not within our nature to do those things. But we want to make sure you understand the message. So what I talked to her group about was messaging. How do we do messaging? So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna let her introduce herself, tell you what it is she's doing, and then we're gonna just talk about it for a little while. So like I say, you don't have to deal with Gabriel today, which is the #1 complaint I hear off the air. So Gabriel's not here. So next week, hopefully, we got some good things to say about Sheila. Sheila, welcome to Porch Talk Radio. How are you doing this Saturday
we're
afternoon?
doing incredible. What a great opportunity. Thank you so much for having us. We appreciate it, Eddie.
Well, but the thing about it, like I said, when like I told your group, when I first started this radio program 10 years ago, black folks weren't ready for it. And the fact that you're a black female running for U.S. Congress and you just happen to be, Republican and conservative, all those stuff going together, sometimes that's a mouthful.
Listen, for the audience, I just want to say hello, Tampa Bay. Listen, I am Sheila Griffin. I am running for the U.S. House of Representatives, District 13. I am not only the face of the family, I am the face of faith, and I am the face of the fight. We're going to bring it to Charlie Crist in this upcoming election. Train Gang Charlie, Chameleon Charlie, Casual Charlie. It doesn't matter what you call him. This is a time when we want people who represent the people of our region and our district, our conservative values, the things that we treasure the most, from our home to our environment, the things that we believe in, and we want someone who goes to work on day one. It is my honor to be here to join you and to say, listen, it's not just porch talk. This is the conversation that we carry throughout our homes, our businesses, and throughout our community. And it's exciting to be here. I tell everyone, listen, I know a lot of people are downing America. They want to burn a flag. They want to do some things, but I know that I am an American, and I'm glad about it. I'm grateful that we are in a place where those that are in poverty live better than middle America in France. We're in a place where our children get to choose what schools they go to, and we're in a place when we don't like it, we get to say something about it. That's what it means to be running on my platform today as we begin to move as your new woman for Congress.
Well, see, now I know, there's a little difference, because you guys understand black girl magic. We're not saying black girl magic as an insult. It's just something about black females, that folks who understand black folks know that there's a thing as black girl magic, and we got some black girl magic happening here, up in here, as the folks as the folks may say from the hood, and black girl magic is just that, it's magic. And anything that they set their mind to, we got some warriors out there who make stuff happening when nobody else in the community can get it done. Those few black females who step up and put the armor on and go to war for us and go war for our community. The community always wins, and
yes.
that just something we don't have to say anymore because
yes.
we know it works. So.
And my family is from North Florida, so my father's from Perry, Florida. His name is Bernard Scott. He ran a bail bonds office and a surety agent over in St. Petersburg. My mom is Betty Scott. She's from Live Oak, Florida. They always argue about which one is the biggest. But Mom was a nurse, served on all types of governmental councils, and was one of the first people to actually write curriculum for the nursing program over in St. Petersburg for St. Pete College. I tell you that because I've been a Republican ever since I was age 18. When I was a young girl, third grade, my grandmommy was walking through the neighborhoods in the pitch dark to tell everybody that Jim Crow had come back to the South, that Dixiecrats were going to take office again because Kennedy had just won. I didn't understand it then, but I understand it now. The Republicans are the only people that have ever written any civil rights act in the history of the United States. You can claim Frederick Douglass if you want to. He was not a Democrat, he was a Republican. You can go backward and start claiming Harriet Tubman if you want to. she was a Republican. You can just keep going through the litany of our history, and there's a reason for it. Until we began to switch parties, we were prospering in America. We had more businesses, we had more college graduates, we had much more because we were never in line. We never thought that if it's free, it's for me. This is the day and this is the time when people began to recognize there's only one party now that's going to stick to the Constitution, that's going to give opportunity to everyone, and that's going to align with our values. We don't believe that when a baby is born, it's okay to let them lay there and die. There are certain things we just do not believe as a people. And while I sit here, I am a pastor. I am a retired attorney. I'm a mommy, and I have raised 32 foster kids. I have owned businesses. I have been in shelters and lived there. I have also been homeless. So the rigors of life, and I've owned $1 million mansion. The rigors of life have taught me that opportunity to actually move is what gives honor. And so when I was working with felons in the last 3 years and getting them jobs, one of my opening statements is, if you want honor, it's called work. And that's what we have to have. We have to have people talking about what it means to not give me food stamps or give me a housing, what it means to have my own house, what it means to have my own business, what it means to have my own job. And those are the conversations we're not having.
Yeah, and that becomes, you know, one of the things, and just with that intro, we got a caller. So welcome to Porch Talk Radio this Saturday afternoon. Who are you and where are you calling from? What say you?
This is Adam from Tampa. And,
Yes, sir.
Wanted to ask the prospective candidate, what type of Republican is she? Is she a social conservative? Is she a fiscal conservative? What type of conservative is she?
One of the things that marks my campaign is that adjectives are very interesting. And I really appreciate your question. Socially, I believe that every spectrum must come up. I'm conservative in that I believe that social programs are for those who cannot, not just those who will not. And I believe they handicap certain people. Economically, I believe we're supposed to balance a budget, and whatever amount of money there is, you don't get to rewrite the checks, and you don't get to load the rest of Americans with debt. Politically, I'm a conservative because I'm tied to the history of our ancestors in every single constitutional amendment that's been enacted to protect us against government. Government is not your friend, it's not your daddy, and it's definitely not my Uncle Sam. And so with that, I don't know if I'm answering your question, Adam, I love your name. But those are some of those pivots for adjectives that go with the word conservative. So conservative does not mean I agree with everything that's on the moniker.
The current head of your party, then, if you were saying that you believe that when checks are written and balancing of the checkbook is very important, and under the current leader of the Republican Party, he has driven up the debt more than $1 trillion. So are you in conflict with him?
Well,
or can you be independent?
Let me say something, because you may not be a regular listener to this show. But what we don't do, we don't, and we are not here to defend anything that Donald Trump does. See that becomes, you know, some way where somehow it's us against the world. And what we don't do is we don't sit here and take shots and try to defend what Donald Trump is doing, because for all intents and purposes, Donald Trump is a grown man. He's a white grown man, and he has over $1 billion somewhere in assets and money and all that kind of stuff. So again, you know, for us to try to say what Donald Trump is good or bad, you know, it's not for us to do. So what we won't do.
I just asked in terms of. I'm just asking as far as she would be a part of a body which the President of the United States, who is a Republican, is considered the head of the Republican Party.
Caller.
Policy.
Caller.
Or some of what she said are important would be.
I'm trying to tell you that our engineer is saying you need to turn your radio down a little bit. Caller, you need to turn your radio down a little bit. We're getting feedback here.
Okay, well, yes, I'm just saying that.
No, I really want to thank you for, I've got the question, and I really want to thank you for the question. I want you to understand something about America, and I know that you already know this. Each person that stands up and has the audacity to say that they'll run for anything has to actually have their own personal belief. If we are a mindset that we are all one cattle prod, and we all think alike, then we already have a problem. You can never get great solutions where you have everyone believe and or think the same thing. I'm a new wave in Tampa Bay because of the way I have lived and the things that I bring to the table. When I say fiscal responsibility, I don't care what you have done. I don't care what your neighbor have done. I don't care what the party has done. I know that you have to pay this check. And if we're not paying it now, we're going to pay it later, and the pain will increase with every year. So it's not about whether I'm with someone else. It's whether or not I actually have something that I stand for in my own integrity. And I stand for balanced budgets, and I stand for term limits, and I stand for making sure that we actually enact things that we are willing to go under ourselves. Congress right now exempts themselves from almost everything they write. And I believe that that is an atrocity to the people. We are citizen representatives, and we should not be exempt.
But you know that the president does have certain powers that supersede your vote.
No, please remember that's not the truth. That's not the truth, sir. The president is able to make executive orders that does not require a vote. But the vote that's in the House and the Senate is very important. And it's very important that you have people with different experiences actually making those policies, that actually have fought for civil rights, that actually have been on the Civil Rights Commission for the U.S. Department of Justice like I have, that actually have walked the walk and talked the talk. This is a conversation that we all must have. And you cannot ever isolate and say that our country is subject to one man. We are millions, and we are Americans. And as we begin to become a force to be reckoned with, each one of us has our input, and each one of us will make a difference.
And thank you for your call, Adam. Thank you. All right.
Oh, I'm loving it. Listen,
Yeah.
I think Adam goes to the heart of one of the things that has to happen locally. When you're choosing someone in your local district for a federal office or for a state office, city or county, there needs to be 7 criteria that you're looking at. You need to choose somebody who you know from among you. So any things that they do, you know things that were intentional, and you know things that were just happenstance in their lives. Somebody that's credentialed, they've already studied, they've already paid the price to have knowledge. So those cute little doctorates I have in international law and law, those masters in theology and a master's in public administration and a bachelor's in psychology, those were not just for me to be able to hoard something, but to be an answer to something. Then you have to look at whether or not they are involved in charity, not for a photo op. Don't go down to the food bank for a photo op. Charity for real as part of their lifestyle. And then whether they have compassion, and whether policies that don't have compassion are always going to hurt the public, because they may solve one problem and create 10. Then you're looking for somebody who is community. They work within the community. They know that they are a citizen representative. This is not your seat. This seat belongs to the people. And the last one, you got to have enough courage to say so.
All right, we got another caller. Caller, welcome to Porch Talk Radio this Saturday afternoon. What say you? Who are you, and where are you calling from?
I'm calling from Tampa. My name is Gina. I heard the speaker's introduction and about only a Republican has wrote any civil rights legislation. But one thing about that is that if they were so good, if Democrats included now, we would not be in the condition that we're in right now. Our party would be totally different. So it has something to do with Democrat or Republican. It's the people who do not like the color of your skin. Now, you talk about free. How could anything be free that you've already worked for? There's nothing free that you've already worked for. What I'm talking about is our people have already put forth that work for anything that our hand might be out for. So it can't be free if our people have worked for it.
Whenever you transfer responsibility for any of life to government, you have then become subject. It's called subjugation. Most of us understood that when we came out of slavery that we didn't want a sharecrop. We didn't want your land so that we could make stuff on it. Whenever you pay taxes, you paid into a base for certain fundamentals. That does not include some things. Fundamentals are safety. Fundamentals are order. Fundamentals are justice. And when we began to talk about other programs that the government wants to take over, who is the worst caregiver ever? When foster children disappear out of foster care or are raped or abused, because I had 30-something foster kids, I understood that government cannot raise children. When government gets ready to take over medical, I know that we're going to have to get in line, and I know that doctors are going to disappear, and we're going to have to ration everything related to that, just like they do in England. After age 50, you don't even get certain services because there's no money for them anymore. Government, whenever you give your money to government as the major way that you get something back. The reason I like small government is because government has no business with my money. I can make the decision with my money. I can decide where I want to insure. Government's job is to make sure no scammers are out there taking my money and then not providing the care I paid for. So in many ways, we are supposed to get something back, but we're not supposed to get our whole life back from them. Government can facilitate all kinds of programs to make sure that we have businesses in our community, that we have opportunity for education and things of that nature. But when it comes to if it's free, it's for me, many times it's a trap. My grandmama used to say something, and this is my last little comment, and I really appreciate you, caller. Mm-hmm. She said, baby, I don't put my money in the bank. And I say, well, Grandma, why your money under a mattress, really? And she said, yeah, because they're offering me money for my money, and I can't figure out what they're stealing in order to do it. What she didn't know was for every dollar that's in the bank, they can loan 10. So if they can loan 10 on her money at a higher interest rate, they used her money for a certain amount of time in order to capitalize and to make themselves wealthy. Her point was, you never there's no free lunch. So if we only pay enough taxes to actually pay for infrastructure, roads, protection, and those kinds of things, then we know that we get that back. But our care is our job. I don't want you taking my money for my care, nor for my children. Don't give me tickets to the raise. I can pay for tickets for my kids. Who would tell a man, listen, I'm going to take care of your kids and give them some tickets to the Bucks? No, don't give me tickets for the Bucks. Make sure my wages are what they need to be. I don't need your help raising my kids or standing firm for my community. We have come a long way as African Americans until we started changing to a party that offers things for free but gives you nothing for freedom. And they need freedom and liberty. Let me be me. I'm incredible at being me.
Well, how long were we Republicans? How long? From the time, so we say we were Republicans from the time of after slavery to the time when the woman, the Carl Bethune and the woman got together, what's her name? Roosevelt got together and basically everybody switched over.
No, they didn't switch over then. They didn't switch over then. They switched over when the rescue came for King coming out of jail with a picture of Kennedy. And then right behind that, Kennedy's assassination, the Republicans wrote the third, it was either the third or the fourth Civil Rights Act that they wrote. And then Johnson signed it, and we thought somehow or another Johnson signing it meant that now that they were for us. Dixiecrats can't be for you, honey. They automatically have already decided that you need a hand out, not a hand up. And so that's the issue. And that's the issue in every large city in America that's run by Democrats. That's why they keep doing programs and not doing prosperity. Prosperity is mandatory, not optional. We had more businesses. We had more every kind of community service you can think of. And we know that there have been plots to eliminate that. So I'm not negating the plots. I'm not negating that every interstate has run straight through black communities to tear up all the economics. I'm not negating the history of tearing down certain parts of our community and destroying every type of business there was and making people run for their lives. I'm not negating that. What I'm saying, though, is you still cannot get anything from a people who believe you need to get in line and wait in line for government. You can never get anything.
The timing is a little off by about 40 years. They did not become Democrats in the 60s.
But sir, what we're not gonna do, we're not gonna rebattle the Civil War. We're not gonna solve all the problems of America in this conversation. What we do, we have a candidate here And if you got something what you want to ask about her and her platform and stuff like that, good. But from regular listening to Porch Talk Radio, no, we don't try to fix Democrats and we don't try to fix Republicans, because those things have happened and everybody got their own opinion about it. So again, we're not changing people's opinion. We're just trying to make a difference. So you got a question you want to ask Sheila, particularly about her in the campaign?
Yay!
What seat are you running for again?
I'm running for U.S. House of Representatives. Charlie Crist now occupies the citizen seat, and it's time for Chain Gang Charlie to be retired.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you. All right. And again, like I say, the regular listeners understand what we do here at this show. And every now and then we get somebody who may be a new listener and don't understand how we do this. But what we do is we don't fight the Civil War repeatedly. We don't have people who come up and say, well, this happened in 1967, this happened in 68, this happened in 32. Everybody understands the history of how we got to where we are. And if they don't, that's why they got books and research and Google and all those different sources out there to redo it. Usually by the time you call, because most black folks are Democrats, and you're born Democrats, and the Democratic Party loves that.
So it's my family. So it's my family.
Yeah, so it's my family. So we as black Republicans and black conservatives understand that. So that's why we're not trying to convert you. But what I like to do is say we have more things in common than we are different. And if the community at large can benefit from us doing what we do, then that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to benefit the community at large. And people who know me know that's one of the reasons I am involved and volunteer for all these groups and organizations. And why this young lady got the history she got, because she already told you, 32 foster kids. That's a lot of, I'm saying that's a lot of damn kids who ain't yours.
And teenage males at that.
And see, and again, that's because our heart is in the right place. And if your heart is in the right place, I'm gonna tell you, you can only do good, and you're not dependent. You're not asking for the help of the government.
You don't need permission.
That's a whole nother something, So again, you can do more when you ain't looking for somebody to shake their head yes or shake their head no. When you just do it, I'm like that. Anybody know me? I'd rather ask for forgiveness than ask for permission, because whatever it is I'm gonna do, a lot of times you ain't gonna agree with it. So once you see it done, then it's a lot easier to handle.
I always say this, and it's not about the permission. Make a decision. Make a decision, because nobody can stop the good that's in your heart. Nobody can do anything about it. And so I'm really excited. One of the things I wanted to just mention, the education, as I have five platform issues, but I want to discuss just something about education and put a bug in everyone's ear. In Pinellas County, I'm on the NAACP. I've worked as a civil rights advocate. I've also worked in some litigation, formerly with Jonathan Alpert, who was one of our litigators here in Tampa, Florida, who is of Jewish descent. But I found something that really has stuck in my craw, and I want to share it with you. In America, many of our children have early childhood education, and they're tied to the Head Start program, which was designed by two psychologists, and they were designed around mentally challenged children. It was designed to give mommies that had to go to work food, nutrition, to make sure kids were taken care of. But for many of us, we think they're actually going to teach our children literacy, or that they're going to provide phonics. They are prohibited from teaching your children anything other than social skills. For those of us who've had to have our children in Head Start for any reason, your children will now be at the lowest class coming into kindergarten and first grade, where phonics and comprehension become mandatory for testing. One of my platforms is to make sure that on the federal level, right now Head Start is under HHS, not the Department of Education. There's no difference between a child who stood at their grandmommy's skirt and a child that was in Head Start by the 4th grade. Many of our children end up in ESSA because we had to go to work, and we thought that somehow this program would help our children. Mm-hmm. But I want you to know the disparity from 1st grade to 4th grade that lasts forever in a child's life is actually mandated by federal law. And it is my commitment as I move toward being your new congresswoman in District 13, is my commitment to make sure that when all is said and done, that we figure out how to partner the Department of Education with HHS, or we eliminate HHS being the actual sponsor and move everything to the Department of Education for early childhood learning. This is an imperative. The gap that keeps showing up in every single school district in Florida. And in Pinellas, you've heard about the failing schools and all of that. But that gap is intolerable because it's impacting the ingenuity and genius of those children whose families need the service.
All right, we got another caller. Caller, welcome to Porch Talk Radio this Saturday afternoon. Where are you calling from and what's your name? What say you now?
I am calling from Tampa, Florida, Hillsborough County, and I am calling to let everyone know that. Let me explain this to you. The Head Start program, early Head Start program, has been a great asset to our to the African American community and to the people, to the kids who go through that program. I don't know what program she's talking about, but the programs that I have dealt with Head Start and early Head Start, they have a major and a wonderful curriculum that teaches the kids their ABCs, their words, their names, everything that they're giving them an edge up instead of teaching them just sitting there how to watch TV. So let me tell you this. The Head Start program is a great asset, and we need to continue it because it gives us a chance, it gives us the opportunity to have our kids put out there ahead of time because we don't have time to do it because a lot of the parents have to go to work and they have to do this. So this program is an amazing program, and whether it's supported by HHS, DEC, DFE, or whoever, it works, and it's a good program. And for you to sit there on this radio and talk about our kids are not learning, which is a disservice for what you're saying, because you need to come into the classroom and see what the kids are learning. And I welcome you to that. And Eddie Adams, you sit on the board for Teens Kids. You see the progress that those kids are making in this community and what that school is doing. So please don't sit there and give out that false information that Head Start is not helping our kids. Head Start is a great asset. Thank you.
I just want to tell our caller, I am always open to listen to anybody that talks about a success, and I'm always open to actually visiting and seeing. When I speak, I don't speak from some lofty place. I speak from on the ground. Head Start turned out its own report that said children that attend Head Start were no different in 4 years than they were if they were at home. That's number one. That was their report. I didn't create that report. Number two, my grandchildren, godchildren, all of them were in Head Start programs in St. Petersburg. Many of them ended up in gifted programs. But that house was shut down. Why? Because they were not only reading, these kids were doing drama, speaking, and everything. This is pre-kindergarten. By 3 and 4 year olds were graduating with this huge accolades. That house was shut down. They were, quote unquote, caught with books. So perhaps I haven't had the momentum to say that I have all of the experience. But I'm taking the language that Head Start used in their analysis and their evaluation of themselves and the personal experience I have. That particular one house turned out more African Americans that were in gifted programs in Pinellas County than anything that I know of. So it's not that people may not be teaching. It's not that your program may not be the most excellent in the whole wide world. I'm telling you about the generic mandates that are in Head Start at the national level, and I'm telling you that I want to make sure every child has that advantage. It's great, even if Eddie is working with something right now. I would love to come. I'm in love with children forever. That's never going to change. But I'm always after the ones that did not make it. I'm always after policy, even if it's ineffective policy at the local level that causes these disparities. In St. Petersburg, we have the NAACP as an education committee that turned out their report last year and is working on a report this year concerning our schools and the disparities. We know it's going to take more than one agency or one issue. I am highlighting the Head Start issue because that's where I live. But we're also highlighting many things from little children in elementary school being suspended or those kinds of things. So I really want to appreciate the passion of the caller. Please don't be upset when I make a statement. I'm willing to be corrected, and I'm definitely willing to highlight any great thing that's happening in Tampa Bay.
Right, and one thing in my conversation when I was talking to the Suncoast Black Republican Club over in St. Pete last week, I told her, I told the group, I said, well, one thing about my show, if we say something that you think is not correct,
It's okay.
Or something, that may be out of kilter or something, to call in and tell us, and I appreciate Miss Yvette calling and telling us, because again, I foster that. I don't want to pass on, have you think that if there's something that I say here that's not correct, or something one of the guests say that's not correct, she knows, everybody in this community call us and tell us, because that's why we're here. And first of all, we need you to trust us. We need you to trust that what we say, is correct information. And if you think it's not correct, we want you to call in and say, I got a different idea, I got a different opinion, I got some different
experience,
different facts.
Yes.
So that's what it's all about. That's why this is a community radio station, and this is a community conversation. It is about making this community forward, taking this community forward. It's how we all move forward together, and that's what it's about here. And I appreciate the caller, I appreciate all the callers, and I appreciate all the listeners.
Thank you very much. And I wanted to, when I talk about term limits for me has to do with the integrity of the process. I believe that every person that sits in a governmental office is hired by the people. You need to check their credentials, check their history, check their lives. But please remember, when you go to vote, you get to fire them. You get to hire them, but you get to fire them. Congress is one of the few places where people die in office.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
There's no term limits. So they never again feel what it's like on Thursday if they have a business try to make payroll on Friday. Or to have the economy go down, turn downward, and all of a sudden they're out of a job and they can't, with their credit rating in the middle of the air, and now their credit rating is at the bottom and they can't buy anything and they can't even rent. Term limits help create integrity and urgency. So I signed the term limit pledge. I really believe 2 terms is enough. Some people want 3 terms for the House of Representatives. You need to go back home and work among your people and be a part of community. And so I take it one step further, and I believe that whatever you enact, you should sign a pledge to be subject to. So right now in Congress, if you do any type of sexually discriminatory act, is not only hidden, but nobody in public knows about it. You're exempted from disclosure. If you write legislation, you can exempt yourself from Social Security payments. You can exempt yourself from everything you write for the people. How is that? If you sign your name, everyone that's running for any office should be willing to be subject to the same laws. You're a citizen representative. We don't want czars, we don't want gods, whatever. And I know that at every station, sometimes people begin to think that they're it. But I know power comes from people and from citizens in particular. You get to hire us, you get to fire us, and you get to make sure that the voice of the citizens is actually heard through protest and or making sure you pull that ballot box.
Yeah, and at this point in time, since we got a little break here on Porch Talk Radio, I'm gonna do our weekly on this day. I know that's important to some people who actually listen. I know it is something that's debated because some people actually like it because it's something different. It's our way of sharing information and knowledge. And some people don't like it. Early, when Willie was here, each week I had to look at his face because for some reason or other he didn't like, he didn't like us doing the on this day thing. So what we're gonna do on this day, the regulars know and understand. On this day, October the 26th, in 1774, the first Congressional Congress of the United States adjourned in Philadelphia. So that means they had their first meeting of the U.S. Congressional Congress back on this day. On this day, October 26th, in 1881, the gunfight at the OK Corral. I know a lot of you guys, even if you ain't seen it or heard of it, they may have touched it in school. It took place in Tombstone, Arizona. The fight was between Wyatt Earp and his two brothers and Doc Holliday and the Ike Clayton gang. So again, they've seen it, they've reposted it, several times in several ways, but it actually happened. Some things are fictional on TV, but every now and then they take some actual events and they take it and they dramatize it, in the media. On this day, October the 26th, 1949, U.S. President Harry Truman raised the minimum wage from 40 to 75 cents an hour. Wow. And every now and then we find things that folks are clamoring about and what's happening, and $15 an hour. Wow, that's a big deal. Just think about folks in 1940 and 1950 when the minimum wage was 75 cents an hour, and that was a big deal. But time is relative. On this day, October the 26th, 1951, Winston Churchill became the Prime Minister of Great Britain. And last but not least, on this day, in 1996, federal prosecutors cleared Richard Jewell. And if many of you guys remember Richard Jewell was the Atlanta security guard who was accused of bombing the Atlanta Olympics. So as a suspect in the Olympic Park bombing, he was actually cleared of that bombing. So again, every now and then we find stuff that you may have thought about, and just to remind you that history is made every day. We just highlight stuff and bring some stuff to you that you may have thought about, and every now and then it's a review of something that we've previewed in the past, and just bring it to light today. So Sheila, you want to go ahead and give a couple of final closing statements before we end the show?
I just want to say that it's an awesome privilege to be on the show today, and also to just kind of step out and begin to talk about things that I believe are valuable to our community. We are very passionate about our lives and our families, our churches, our education, economics, and environment. It's really important that when we say the word justice, that we mean justice, period. I like adjectives, but if I ever get economic justice wrong, I automatically have gotten social justice wrong. If I ever get any other adjective wrong, the rest of them begin to fall. Each one of us needs to remember, as we are planning for 2020 and on our way, your vote matters for real. And I encourage each one of you, as we begin to look at what kinds of changes need to happen in our community. How do we enfranchise, again, the power of our businesses, of our families, and make sure that economics is a part of that solution? That we begin not just to pray about it, but we plan and we begin to pursue it. And the political realm must be a part of it. Choose someone that's from among you, someone you know, someone that has standards already. You can't give a person that. And if you do that, then we will have a successful, incredible growth in our community and in our nation. My name is Sheila Griffin. I'm running for U.S. House of Representatives, 13th District in Pinellas County, to replace the current casual incumbent, Charlie Crist.
All right. See that's what I'm talking about. It people don't understand, and part of the conversation has to be marketing and messaging. Because I remember, not that long ago, a few years ago, when Congressional District 13 was messaged as a Republican district. Again, the Bill Young, who had that district, had it for over 50 years. So Democrats kind of several years they didn't even have a candidate. They didn't even run anybody. And then David Jolly, Bill Young died. David Jolly took the spot that Bill Young held, weakened the spot, and then next thing we know, Chain Gang Charlie was elected to that slot. And for most of our history, most of you guys out there, Chain Gang Charlie was a Republican. And that's how he got that name. But again, somewhere along the way, he became a chameleon, and now he's a Democrat. And I'm not just calling names, just telling you how the process went. Because you guys remember, he changed party, and then he read his own press clippings and decided he wanted to be the senator. And in that senatorial race, out of nowhere came Marco Rubio, who was literally an unknown with no name and no money. Yes. And then one day, the Republican Party had an event down in Fort Myers, Florida, which I went and attended. And all of a sudden, in one day, one 24-hour period, of one 48-hour period, he raised $1 million. And that was the beginning of the end of Republican by the name of Charlie Crist. Charlie Crist, within months, became an independent. And then within a year or so later, he was a Democrat. So again,
I think, and it's not about the party so much as
No.
it is about the work. Charlie Crist does not put in the work, and he doesn't mind not putting in the work. And he doesn't mind not presenting a record that shows that. When you're absent over 40-something days from major legislation that's going on, when you're just not present in the community even. Right now he's present because 2020 is coming. And so that makes a difference. But each one of us have to do the scorecard for ourselves. Don't let time pass and you didn't take the time to investigate people's history. And it's not whether he makes a mistake. A mistake will not be the downfall of any of us. All of us have made mistakes. But failure to represent the people and be there for the people is major. And so we want to continue to just drive it home. I say I'm an American and I'm glad about it because too many people said you're number one, you're black, number two, you're chubby, number three, you don't have all the money that everybody else has, number four, girl, what makes you think you can step up and just do something like this? And the list goes on when people are talking to you about life. But I tell them I am an American. I'm not going to ask you for the seat at the table. I pull up my chair and sit down.
And that's the other part of the whole process. And I tell folks all the time, and I tell you've heard me say this before, every election cycle somebody win who ain't supposed to win. I'm just telling you. Somebody win.
That might be you.
Somebody win just because they're in the race and they're not voting against the other guy. They're actually voting for you because you brought something to the table that sparked somebody's interest, that you said something different. They saw something in you, which means they actually saw you. There's a lot of people running for these political offices that people never see and they never hear.
Yes.
And it's about how they're perceived because messaging is important. And somebody said, well, you got to have enough money to get your messaging out. It depends on what you say when you got people because the thing about it is, and something I told folks, back in the day when I was running, I had like 250 volunteers. At one point in time, I had a lot of folks. I may not have ever had a lot of money, but the message is out there. And if you got the right message, people will spread your message for you. If you tell one person, and that person tell 10, and those 10 people tell 10 people, and those 10 people tell, you see how it works? It works just like stuff do on the internet. It
Yes.
works like it do on your computer and with Facebook and all these other media groups. If the messaging is good and it touches the right people, if it touches your soul, a lot of folks, don't understand why I come on week after week after week. We've been doing this for 10 years, because I understand and I see the feedback. You people will call me and tell me, say, Eddie, I'm not a Republican, but I'm no longer a Democrat. You know, and that's kind of what we do. Like I said, we ain't not here trying to recruit Republicans, but we're trying to make a difference in this community. And if you get a chance to choose between the Democrats and Republicans and Independents, and you show up at that voting booth and you vote consistently, more and more and more and more, this community is going to get recognized. Because I'm going to tell you, because the folks who live in South Tampa don't have no problem with the city. You know, because the people who get elected for all the city and the county positions that go through South Tampa, know them people in South Tampa going to vote. And there should be no difference in West Tampa, and should be no difference in East Tampa.
Yes.
And the black community in Pinellas. Because I'm going to tell you something. Them folks who control the money know that it's important for them to get elected. And if they don't get elected, that means them folks don't show up and vote for them. That means you show up and vote against them folks. And you get some of the people that look like you elected. It makes a difference.
It makes a difference.
They know that and they understand that.
It makes a big difference. Each time we go to the platform to make a decision, we are basically saying, I care about where I live. I care about my family. No one else gets to decide the heritage of my grandchildren. I love them. I care about their education. I care about the environment. And I even care about the people. But you have to realize sometimes it's the issue. And bring issues to the front that sometimes you think your political base are unaware of. It's okay. Some people will hear you and some will not. I'm one of those persons that really tries to listen and see what it is that I'm missing. Because we don't speak without actually having experienced something that has a way of either impacting us for the good or the bad. And so every issue that you bring to the forefront, that you share, that you champion, makes a difference in your community. It's not just the person, it's the issue also.
And that's what we're about. We're about having a message, something that you can live with. You know, for a period of time, a lot of you guys who listen to this show every week, because you call me and tell me or email me or text me and say I'm listening to the show. I like the show. Matter of fact, when I was in Pinellas, it was a bunch of folks there at the meeting who said, I listened to your show. And one young lady, and if you guys remember, I used to come on at 10 o'clock. She said, I love your show. But when it stopped coming on at 10 o'clock, I thought you was off the air. And I told her, I said, no, honey, we still on the air. We just come on at 1 o'clock in the afternoon.
Yes.
And she said, oh, I will be listening. So if you're listening out there now, then you found us. So that's important. So folks know we come on at 1 o'clock on Saturdays. You know, we're going to be here for a while. And we got a big birthday coming up in January. So we're going to celebrate 10 years on the air, Porch Talk Radio.
Hello.
Yeah, so we're going to have a big thing at the Black Heritage Festival. And hopefully we can be doing a live show and have a big party for Porch Talk Radio and a big celebration. So for everybody who's involved, we're going to have that Black Index, out there to you, more information about that's coming up. And we know and love you and give your website and phone number and stuff for people to contact you.
Listen, we're at Vote Griffin, GRIFFIN.US. And please feel free to contact us at 727-735-5548. 727-735-5548. Again, that's VoteGriffin.US. And I'm Sheila Griffin. Thank you so much.
All right, and as you guys know, we know Tampa Bay. We love you. Until next week, same bat time, same bat station. Bye-bye.
Thank you, Eddie.
See you.